Hey, this is Mike. I'm here with the Igniting Souls Publishing Agency global live stream celebrating the launch of a new book. We're here with my very good friend and special guest today, Crissy Maier. Now, Crissy Maier, she is a friend, a longtime friend of Igniting Souls. If you've been around at all, you've seen some of the work that she's been doing. She's amazing, and I'm so excited to be able to celebrate her and her book today. Now, I want to tell you a couple things about Crissy that I've learned here in getting to know her, and maybe you know this, maybe you don't. But let me know if this is a surprise to you before I bring her on. Now, Crissy, she was born with a cleft lip and cleft palate, and she's had over 25 surgeries. Okay, and in elementary school, she was classified as learning disabled. Well, since then, she has gotten her bachelor's degree. She's gotten her master's degree. She worked for the NYPD as a policy analyst and a police academy instructor and a 9/11 rescue worker, and she retired with the rank of sergeant. Okay, and she was also the first female director of Watch Command for the New York City Emergency Management Department. This is quite an accomplished young woman, and with an amazing story to tell. So let's get me out of the way and bring on Crissy Maier. Here's Crissy. Crissy, I am so excited to be able to celebrate with you today. You're an author. You wrote an award-winning novel, Blue Sky Morning.
Yes.
And I'm sure there's much to talk about that, but I do want to focus today on your newest book, a children's book called The Too Tall Giraffe.
Yes. And I want to thank you, Mike, first for calling me a young lady.
Well, of course. Well, we're so excited to have you here, Crissy. I know you do a lot of work behind the scenes, and you are empowering individuals and organizations to turn obstacles into opportunities, right? You say, and to help people understand their beauty, their power, their purpose, their superpower, even as you mentioned here.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit the bird's eye view of the Too Tall Giraffe?
Yeah, so the Too Tall Giraffe is about a giraffe named Savannah who has to move from her native habitat into a new one in Kenya. And when she gets there, she starts school, like many children or calves do, and finds out she's the tallest giraffe in class, and the other kids are not so excited. And they tease her, and she starts not feeling good about herself because she is so tall and looks different. And she finds out that she has a little bit of a superpower. She doesn't know what it means. And there's an opportunity comes, and she is able to, make the choice whether to use it or not. And I think that mirrors many of us in life, where we have something that we think is bad, and somehow, some way, turns out to be a positive in our life down the road, but it doesn't feel like it at the moment.
That's so good, and and this would reflect. You've put a lot of your personal story into this, as I think a lot of these children's stories really come from a place of your path, your experience, and repackaging it into a form to help these kids understand where they fit into the world.
Definitely. I think every little bit of my journey is in there in 24 pages.
That's
just
amazing.
Really condensed.
That's so. I'm so glad that you're able to really take some of these high concepts, right, and bring them as kind of this like lower hanging fruit for kids to be able to get some value from. I think that's such a powerful tool as a children's book writer, to be able to take those concepts and make them accessible like that. That's so good. I got my copy. Excellent. And I also I got the German copy. So danke for that, Crissy. I appreciate that. That's so good. That's so exciting.
You're welcome, but I don't actually speak German.
So you haven't read this book?
No. Well, I have looked through it, but I have not read it.
That's awesome. I love it. More kids able to access the truths in this book.
Yeah.
So, Crissy, I would like to get to know more about some of the foundations that you've partnered with through your work and through this book. Can you tell me a little bit more about that? And I know we have a special guest.
Yes,
I
we
know.
do.
So could you introduce us to some of the work that you're doing and who we're going to look forward to meeting here in just a minute?
Yeah. So last year, right before the pandemic, I had gotten in contact with a organization called the Children's Craniofacial Association, which has a speakers bureau, which sounded like a great opportunity before the pandemic. And then the pandemic happened and speaking opportunities dried up a little bit. But I kept in contact with them. I, went through all of the steps to get certified to be a member of their speaker bureau. And when I wrote this book, I said, who needs this message? And I said, there's nobody who needs it more than the children and the adults in the craniofacial community. So I got in contact, and so I actually have in here an ad for them because I think it's really important that people become aware of this organization and the Speaker Bureau, because they go out, us speakers go out to schools and organizations and talk about some of the challenges and how we can build acceptance with the community. So my special guest here is from CCA, as we call it, is Erica. And if we want to bring on Erica.
Fantastic. Let's bring on Erica. Join us on this live stream. Hi, Erica. We're so glad you're here.
Hi. Thank you so much for having me.
That's amazing. So, Erica, would you mind telling us a little bit more about your organization and your relationship with Crissy and what it's been like to partner in this way?
Absolutely. So CCA Kids is over 30 years old, and we're a family support organization. And so any family member, including the person themselves who has a facial difference, which is a craniofacial condition, or you may be a burn survivor or a trauma survivor, you fit in with us. And we provide, I like to say, three main things: financial assistance for medical travel. So our kids on average have about 20 procedures before they're 18. So that's a lot of burden on parents.
Wow.
So we provide that financial assistance. We do a whole host of social and emotional networking and putting families in touch with one another, having networking events, because really this journey is made so much better if it's a shared one. And then the last thing that we do is our goal is to educate the public. And this is where really Crissy comes into play, and all of our speakers on the Speakers Bureau. Because we believe that if people see and understand people with facial differences, it takes away that stigma. It takes away that shock when they first meet someone. They know to just smile and introduce themselves. And it also, we found, really helps everyone, because everyone thinks they're different in some way. Everyone has something they're self-conscious about. And like the book and like Crissy's message is, if you can find your unique brilliance, if you can find your superpower, you are going to serve your community, your family, and yourself so much better in the long run. So we're just so grateful to be included in this project and to have such passionate people come back to our community and encourage the little ones just coming up, and maybe people coming into the community who acquire their facial difference.
That's so amazing. I'm so glad to hear about this partnership. And our audience here is authors, coaches, entrepreneurs, and speakers who are often trying to figure out, okay, so I've got this idea. What do I do? Like, it's not just about selling copies of a book. What do I do? And here is an example. Here, Crissy and Erica being here is an example of whatever you're passionate about, whatever means a lot to you, whatever you have a heart for, seek out other people with the same heart, right? And because Erica, in this case, they looking for people to connect with a broader community. You as an author, you as an entrepreneur or a speaker, you can help deliver the message that you care so much about, that people like Erica care so much about, and are able to share it on your platform as well, so that you point people to the solutions that they need. How many people with craniofacial issues and conditions, they feel alone, right? They don't feel like there's a community, and for you guys to be able to be a part of that solution is so encouraging. So Erica, what's been a big win for you and your organization lately? What's encouraging in your world?
I think what has been really encouraging is, though we have had less people going into schools and less of these events, we have found a way to connect virtually. And we have been doing online support groups. We've been doing online webinars. People like Crissy and other speakers are coming in to give intermittent motivational talks. And we've really learned how to open up over this platform. I think that's going to stick with us for years and years to come, because again, when a parent has a baby, they're typically the only one in their community. And sure, once a year they can drive to an event and meet someone, but what about the rest of the year? You need that constant support, and our speakers, our adults who are giving back, are offering that, and they're putting themselves out there and saying, hey, let me tell you about my journey and maybe you can relate. So that's been a huge win, just to be able to figure out how to run virtual support groups and meetings for us.
That's so exciting. That's so great. The creativity that's come from having to overcome some of these obstacles, I think, is going to trickle out into a lot of great new ways to connect with people. I'm glad you found some success in that. Erica, where can our people learn more about you and your organization?
Absolutely. And again, thank you both for giving me this opportunity to come talk about CCA. But you can find us on ccakids.org, so ccakids.org. We're also on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, pretty much at CCA Kids. And you can call our office in Dallas. You can find that number toll free on our website.
Awesome. ccakids.org. We've got people working on our tribe support here who will pick up that link and share it with our people, so that anyone watching now or afterwards on their own time are going to be able to check you out there. ccakids.org. Awesome. Well, Erica, I'm so glad that you were able to spend some time with us and sharing a little bit more about what you do. And we're so excited that you've been able to partner with Crissy here and many others to do such good work for a whole group of people who feel alone and without very many options. And we're glad you're a part of the solution.
Thank you so much. And good luck, Crissy. I know you're bringing a message to so many kids that will inspire and encourage them.
Thank you, Erica.
Thanks, Erica.
Thanks.
Awesome. Well, Crissy, that's so exciting. I'm so glad you brought a guest.
I know.
I love it.
It's a party. So of course I brought a guest.
It's a party. We're celebrating so much today. And we're celebrating Crissy's book, The Too Tall Giraffe.
And I do have one here.
Ah, perfect. Well, yeah. you have a lot of giraffes. we can see them. We can see them behind you.
I did. I believe Michelle is doing tribe support today, and I promised him giraffes. He did not know I was coming as one.
Oh.
But yes, there are a lot of giraffes here. That's
fantastic. Okay, so why the giraffe? Why does this book star a giraffe? And did you like giraffes long before this and knew you had? How did that work?
I always liked giraffes as long as I can remember. Yeah. And when I went to write this story, actually, I wrote the story in high school.
Oh, you
originally, did? Yes. It was the school assignment, and I wrote it, and I left it at school, and I always wanted it back. And as an adult, and an author, I realized, the best way to do that is actually to recreate it. But so that's why it's, I always loved giraffes. So obviously, all the way back in high school, I did. But I like the idea that this is like a too tall giraffe. How silly is that? But it really speaks to how we sometimes perceive ourselves and our obstacles. What other people think might seem silly to see as an obstacle, we really truly believe is an obstacle. But just like CCA finding a way to get over the pandemic, or find ways around the pandemic, we can turn that into opportunities that reframe how we do things every single day that are even better than before.
That's so good, because when you come across an obstacle, right, you tend to get very inwardly focused, whether it's an obstacle that you have to deal with your whole life, or it's an obstacle that just kind of is an interruption of your life that comes up. You tend to get very inwardly focused. How does this affect me? What am I going to do? And so you're saying, if you flip that and focus on how can I uniquely serve other people? How can I pour value into other people? That that is a mindset shift that's subtle, but it's significant, that you turn it into an opportunity to serve people and an opportunity to encourage people.
Yeah, because, you know, we see that obstacle, we're like, how do we get through it? And sometimes you have to get around it, and sometimes you have to live in it. And when you do that, you'll find out there are other people who have the same challenges that need your support. You'll find that there are just a different way to see it. Like, I'm not the too tall giraffe, I'm the too short giraffe. And, you know, I was not very athletic as a kid. And I think somewhere in some bio, I think I have something that I'm a last round draft pick for the elementary school kickball team. And
oh, yeah.
That's, you know, like, that's a true story. I was, you know, one of the last kids picked. But, you know, being little sometimes in kickball can be an advantage. Not always. But, you know, there was a day when the ball went flying over my head, and that's how I got to first base. And so from that moment, I always saw like little as an advantage, you know, not in the grocery store when you need something off the highest shelf.
Sure, it does have challenges.
But there's plenty of other times when it can be an advantage.
That's so great. And
people underestimate me all the time.
I love that. You're such an inspiration and an example of well, your message, that the pain that you used to experience has become your platform now, that you get to speak and encourage people who are just dealing with issues, because, you know, that's some people's tough reality. Everyone has some issues at some degree. And so your ability to help people reframe that in their mind is such an important skill and paradigm shift here. And we've got people in the chat who are just inspired by all that you're doing there as well. So what would you say to someone who how would this book help people? What would you say to someone who is thinking about this book? How would you encourage them to read it, and what they could get from it?
Well, I think, you know, if you're talking about kids, I think it's just the awareness that, you know, our challenges are not only challenges, that they can be opportunities. And I think once they become aware of that, it sort of opens doors, because they're very, their brains aren't so fixated on problems being problems. So I think that helps keep that awareness for them.
I'm sorry, please continue.
And I think when you get into older kids and their mindsets start to become a little more fixed, you know, one of the things I hear from those older kids is that being kind to people and not making people feel bad like Savannah feels in the story. Like they pick up that awareness of how they're hurting people from reading the book.
I think that's I'm really glad you brought that up, because it's not just a book for someone who feels like they're the too tall giraffe. Yes. It's also a book for a kid who maybe has a too tall giraffe in their class, right? Yes. And or even if they don't, just a general awareness of, like, there are going to be people who look different than you do, who are dealing with issues that you don't have to deal with. And so reading the story to someone who is going to be encountering a too tall giraffe, to learn, like, look, what makes them different, what maybe makes them tend to be picked on by other kids, is actually something that is a unique skill that they have, and something that they have. And we need to also retrain our kids to be able to recognize that those people have a superpower, and we need to celebrate that, and not pick on them because they look different, not give them a hard time, not make them feel separate or less than, but celebrate differences. And so that the audience then goes way beyond the too tall giraffes out there. It's the whole I don't know, what do you call a group of giraffes? A herd, a cluster?
I should know the answer to this, and I don't.
Oh no, on the spot.
We'll go with herd, but they do have a name that's not herd.
All right, or for lack of a better term right now, the whole herd. It's good for the whole herd of giraffes.
I mean, Mike, think about it. If we were all the same, how boring would life be?
You'd have nothing to add. You'd have no purpose.
No, it would like it just why have a conversation if you all think the same and do the same things? Like if we don't have different people, then life gets really boring really fast.
And that's so cool. And you, more than like I think anybody I know, you are such an inspiration in celebrating your unique quirks. Like just reading your biography at the beginning of this is like Crissy has had such a unique, quirky life that not many people get to experience, and you've embraced that quirkiness. You're wearing an awesome giraffe shirt, and you've got giraffes all around you, and so your ability to celebrate that, embrace that is so refreshing in a world that tries to blend in, tries to be average, and you say, nope, forget that. That's not where the good stuff is.
No, I mean, do you remember the average things in your day?
Nothing to say there.
Yeah, exactly. And by the way, this is an entire dress.
Oh, it is a whole giraffe dress. Fantastic.
Yes.
Hey, Crissy, this just in. We have confirmation here that it is a tower of giraffes.
Thank you, Michelle.
Vivian seconds that, and Carrie also has confirmed a tower of giraffes. So we've got a crackpot squad of sleuths here on it.
And you would think writing a book called The Too Tall Giraffe, tower would be easy to remember. I will never forget that.
You will not forget now. Guys, you are adding value to Crissy's life right now by this as well. That's awesome. They got you. They got you.
Thank you.
Crissy echoes what you were saying. We're here to help each other. We can't do it if we're all identical, right? I mean, if there is no difference, there is no value. There's no unique value to add. And so I know you've spent a lot of years finding your superpower.
Yes.
What would you say your superpower is?
One of them is identifying problems. I worked in emergency management for 10 years, while I was in the police department. And that is finding or having problems delivered to you and finding solutions to them really fast.
I can't imagine the stress and the off the top of your head problem solving that you'd have to execute for that. But that's awesome. So yeah, so you identify problems, and then you're obviously able to come up with a solution to that. And this book is a solution
to a
problem that you've experienced and you've seen in people's lives, and that's so good to be able to share that with people who need it. Is it true, Crissy, you have a stuffed giraffe with a cleft lip? Is that?
I do.
Oh, perfect. That's can you tell us more about that? How did you find that? And that's like the perfect icon for your world.
Yeah. So this is Mosaic, and when a few months ago I was looking at different ways to promote the book, and I was talking to some friends from Firing, and we were trying to figure out if I could have a giraffe. And so Google is your friend, and I found this organization called Cuddles for Clefts, and they had a giraffe, and you could customize your order for what type of cleft it was, and they delivered. So this is a left unilateral cleft affected giraffe.
Wow.
That I did a naming with all my friends and family, and I picked Mosaic. And I've been in touch with the organization Cuddles for Clefts, and they have actually donated 2 giraffes to my launch. And so I get to pick 2 winners, and they're random. I have like a stack of little rolled up papers.
Oh, wow.
I really wanted it to be random, and that was the easiest way.
Fantastic.
So the first winner is Anne. I only know her. The first name is Anne, so I will be emailing Anne.
Oh, great. Excellent.
And so
congratulations, Anne.
Yeah. So people got to nominate somebody who was cleft affected who would benefit from a giraffe. So Anne is one winner, and our second winner is Ellie Reed. And Ellie, I know exactly who she is, and she works with children with developmental issues, young kids as they're pre-kindergarten age, and helping them get ready for school.
Fantastic. Well, Anne and Ellie, congratulations. I'm so glad that you're able to be part of this. Crissy will get in touch with you and be able to send you your draft. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Love it. Crissy, this is so much fun. We have a few more minutes remaining here.
Yes.
In this time, what would you want people to do after reading this book? You pick up this book on Amazon, available on Amazon?
Amazon, Barnes & Noble, everywhere.
Wherever books are sold.
Yep.
Fantastic. Michelle is dropping that link, Too Tall Giraffe, where you can purchase this book on Amazon. He can drop it again here as we're talking about it. But so after reading this book, what would you encourage people to do?
Well, I have and if I don't know if I gave you the link for it, but I do have some resources. I have a giraffe quiz. I have discussion questions, and I have a coloring book and coloring pages. So if anybody wants that, they can head over to the tootallgiraffe.com, and there's some information there. And I'll make sure you get those. There's a sign up link right now, and I'll be changing it as we go into post launch phase.
Okay, perfect.
Those things will be available. You can sign up there. And the other thing is, if you work at a school, if you're a teacher, camps, or even if you just have a kid in school and would like to have me come speak, I would love to come speak about this message and helping kids in classrooms and schools understand that being different is good, and to be kind to those who are different, and to learn to help them bring out the best in each other.
That's so good. I just dropped the link here. There we go. We got it. The link, if you are interested in having Crissy at your school or your library, whatever group you're in, to come speak and share this message and so much more, then please send her an invite. And this is a highly valuable human being that you're going to want to speak to your group of people. I know I've enjoyed this conversation, Crissy, and I know that many other people will. And this is just the beginning. I think the best is still ahead for the Too Tall Giraffe and for Crissy Maier going forward. This is so good. Crissy, did you have any final word of encouragement for the readers of this book?
Yeah, when you're in that moment and your obstacle feels like an obstacle, that's okay. That's where we are sometimes. The last time, my last big obstacle that I had, it went on for a little while, went on for a couple of weeks, and every day I told myself, there's a lesson here, and I'm going to be stronger at the end of it, even though I don't know what it is, and even though I don't like it right now. At the end, I grew so much. And just saying that to myself, that there's a lesson here, took off some of the sting of that moment. And so that's something I always tell myself whenever I'm having a bad day, a bad moment, there's a lesson here. And I kind of be like, that's great. I don't want a lesson right now. But I always felt better, and I appreciated the lesson when a couple of days or weeks later, when I realized what it was and how much stronger I was because of it.
I love that. What a simple little tidbit. Like you said, just to take the sting off of it. It doesn't fix it. It doesn't make you feel better necessarily. But it does take the sting off to remember there's a lesson here. And that is the first step in retraining your mind to view this obstacle as an opportunity. That's a great little tidbit that we can start implementing right now.
Yes.
Well, you know what, Crissy, we have had so many people positively influenced by just our time here together. Nikki says this has been a wonderful time. Betty says you are the real deal, and that's awesome. Kirsten loves the lessons here, loves your philosophy. And And here's a fun fact that we can leave with. Carrie Arendt here is sharing that there are even 9 different types of giraffes in Africa. So even among things that look the same, there's still differences. And she says best wishes as you go out and speak to many more groups of people. Well, Crissy, I've enjoyed our conversation. Thanks so much. I'm so glad we're able to meet your guest from the Craniofacial Association as well. And it's been a pleasure to speak with you. I'm sure we'll get to hear from you more as we go on, and wish you the best of luck as you continue to reach people with a message of the Too Tall Giraffe. As if you're watching, listening here today, make sure you pick up your copy and read it to one of the giraffes in your life, one of the giraffes in your tower, as it is. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Crissy. We appreciate you. Have a great rest of the week. And to those of you watching and listening, thank you so much for joining us here today. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, Mike.
See ya.
Bye.